Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for returning. Thanks to the new listeners who have joined me. I don't know if you know this, but I've been doing an email list. I want you to join it. Go click the link in the show description to sign up for my email list, and I'll bug you about when I'm performing in a town near you. I got a lot of shows coming up, so I would love to see you there. So, what do you say we get into this week's episode? I'm recording this episode in the middle of the night. I'm talking 2 in the morning. Don't ask me why either. This is definitely not intentional. I had no plans for being up this late. It's definitely not of the norm. Like, I haven't been up this late in so long. I mean, okay, in fairness, it's been the last few days. I've just been staying up late for no particular reason, and it's throwing me off. Okay, because now I'm sleeping late and it's screwing up everything, but I'm still getting the episode out on time. It's weird. I feel like I'm like in my 20s again. You know, there was like a good portion of my life that was spent like I remember there were times where, especially when I started first doing stand up, I was doing gigs and I had a part-time job, and most days it was almost like I was working like an overnight shift. I would do shows at night, work during the day. There were days where I didn't see sunlight. It was the craziest thing. I remember at that time too, I was thinking like, this is bizarre to not witness any daylight. I would sleep all day and then I would go out at night, do shows, and then stay up all night. It was bananas. I don't know how, like, it's that is so far in the past, like that whole, stay up all night thing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I'm staying up late right now. Maybe this is hypocritical of me, but I'm having flashbacks to what it used to be like, and I'm nostalgic for it, but I don't miss it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of glad I've aged into this middle age, like early middle age. Like 30s are my decade. I have a feeling this is gonna be the best decade of my life, personally. Okay, for like personal progress. Some people peaked in high school, some people peaked in college. I think my 30s are going to be where I peak. Okay, this is a prediction, and I'm hoping this is my goal. And I don't know if it sounds like a superficial goal to have, but I guess maybe aren't all goals superficial. But I was thinking about this, like, because everything that happens in your 30s, so quote unquote, if you're doing, life, I guess the trajectory of life, the 30s is when you're really settling into adulthood, right? You got your relationships, your family, your friends. Usually not too many major changes with that, right? Sure, there are exceptions. If you're one of them, good for you. But here's my particular situation. I'm like, okay, things are good. I have shelter, healthy relationships, friends, decent career, decent enough. Okay, and I say that because nobody knows who I am and I'm making money. I feel like that's pretty successful, on some level. It's for sure not where I thought I'd be. I mean, who knows? It's the sky's the limit, and I'm just a few floors up, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like, just it's all about being happy with what you got. You know what I mean? And I think that also comes with age at some point, right? You just gotta kind of like just accept you for who you are. This is what I'm doing, and we'll see where it goes. But I think the 30s, everything that happens in your 30s is right in my like maturity level. I don't want to say, because this is going to sound arrogant, and it's not meant to. So, hear me out. I feel like even in like, high school, teenager years, whatever, I always felt a little like, my interests were, I was doing stand up. I was going out at night. I was hanging out with older folks who like, they're all like alcoholics or messed up in some way. And I'm just this 16, 17-year-old kid who's got to go to school tomorrow, but I'm just trying to do an open mic. So all my friends were like older. So all my interests and like, my tendencies were geared towards like communicating with adults, particularly adults with, alcohol problems. So it was this weird, like, duality, this like double life I had going. And I think that somehow affected my, just, I think in some ways it made me grow up faster, if that makes sense. You know, it kind of exposed me to stuff that most high school kids maybe didn't even think about. And this is all in hindsight, right? So I feel like I kind of missed out on a lot of the immaturity that comes with high school. I was kind of a boring kid, is what I'm trying to say. You know, I didn't do anything crazy or stupid. Now, I always liked kind of like the simplicity of like, you got your life, you go to work, you go home, you go to work, you go home, and in between, you have some fun times, but nothing too crazy. I love a boring life. Oh, I know this sounds like so sad, but no, I truly do. It's so nice. I like uneventful. I'll occasionally have a nice night out, but I love a simple, like, we're staying in. I'm not doing anything. And now that I think about it, I'm sure living through a pandemic has also affected some of these. It's kind of propelled me even further into the like, why bother? But what I'm trying to say is, like, when I was, in your 20s, you'll go out all night and you'll drink and you'll hang out and you'll be out late and it'll be like no big deal. And now I'm sitting here at 2 a.m. doing a podcast and I'm thinking like, I could go out to the bar if I want. But why would I? I actually have no desire to. That sounds like painful to me. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think I'm just going to be a better old person than I was a young person, if that makes sense. Like when I was younger, I felt like it wasn't working. But now that I'm getting older, I'm like, I see. I don't really have to go anywhere. Like when you're younger, you felt obligated to go to social events and do things. Now, not so much. Not for me. I'm like, I'm good. I have no problem saying no now. Like, oh, what's that? You're having a birthday party this weekend? Sorry, I'm busy. Oh, and here's the best part is that person whose birthday it is doesn't care that I'm not there, right? There's just no obligation anymore. It's like, I want to be invited, but I also am going to say no. You know what I mean? That's the obligation we have now. I don't have an obligation to show up as much as you do to invite me, so I can politely decline. And then we all go our separate ways. Isn't life beautiful? When when just you get to your 30s and older and you just give up on all that stuff. It's so nice. Did you guys watch the Golden Globes? I did, because that's where I'm at in my life right now. I'll stay home and watch the Golden Globes instead of going to that birthday party. I'm fine with it. And I know award shows are lame, but I still watch them every time. And that's what happens every year. There's always a group, and maybe it's just my Twitter feed, right? I don't know. This is when I say they, I usually mean the internet. But people online always hate award shows, hate on them, for various reasons. And all of them, I would say, are valid. They are dumb. They're self-congratulatory. They're kind of annoying in some ways. And Hollywood isn't like what it used to be. It used to be like cool. Now it's just, ugh. Like when I listen to my grandma talk about, like my grandma was like Hollywood was a thing that you like, and now we just kind of, I don't know, it's just lost some of its magic to me. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, it was this really interesting, cool thing, and now it's just kind of ugh. But I get it. I get why people hate them, but I do love how everyone hates them, and then somehow the viewership is up. And some people were saying it's because Taylor Swift was there, which is also funny to me because I don't know what's worse, tuning into the Golden Globes because Taylor Swift's going to be there, or tuning into an NFL game because you think she's going to be watching. Like watching someone watch something is weird to me. Maybe it makes more sense for the Golden Globes because she was like nominated, right? Or her concert film was nominated, but people love her. Also, she's in her 30s. And, look at how wildly different our lives are, right? She can't go anywhere without changing the economy just from her presence. And I'm sitting in a dark room at 2 a.m. recording a podcast. Now, I know I'm not old yet, but that's when you're getting a little older. When people like who you used to, like when you just used to think of famous people as like people older than you, and now all of a sudden you're older than most of the famous people. especially musicians. Like I'm at the point now where I will turn on a top 40 station and go, who is this? Never heard of them. What are they, 17? That's nuts. I am twice their age. That's wild to me. Oh, and you know what else is wild is did you see that Alaskan Airlines plane that where it was a door plug, I believe, that blew off, which I didn't even know was a thing. A door plug, okay? From the outside, it looks like a door, but from the inside, it looks like a normal window seat, right? There's no door, there's no nothing. Now, if you haven't seen the footage, I don't know how. If you've had the internet or watched the news, it's been everywhere. It's all people could talk about because it's bananas that this can happen, right? I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, I didn't know that could happen. We better make sure it doesn't ever happen again. But 16,000 feet up in the air, this door just blows off, and thankfully no one was sitting in the like seats that were right where the door was. But I believe the kid in front, his shirt was ripped right off of him. Okay. And like because of the depressurization, I don't know. Look, I'm not gonna try and explain scientifically what happened here, but you get the picture, right? Theoretically, when a door falls off of a plane, at in the sky going hundreds of miles an hour, plane's supposed to fall apart. It's not supposed. You're not supposed to see the outside like that. That's bananas. No, you don't want that. I couldn't imagine. This is like it's always been a fear in the back of my head. Like, you always, every once in a while, it seems like once a year, there's a crazy guy that tries to open one of the doors and everyone's like, that was nuts, huh? But, they reassure you that they can't open in mid flight. Like the doors, it's impossible to open them. And then something like this happens and you're like, holy hell. And now this thing just blew off. Nobody like did it. And the craziest part is the people that were supposed to be sitting in those seats like missed their flight, or their Uber got in an accident or something like that. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess, do you just go, hey, I guess we're lucky, because they for sure would have been sucked out of that plane, right? And then what do you do after this? Like, how do you get on a plane ever again? I don't know if I could. Like, that would mess me up so bad, And I got to get on a flight later too, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just drive. I don't know if I need to get on the plane, because it never happens. Not in the States, not in the United States. Nothing. Usually, it's pretty safe, but every day there seems to be a new story of something bad happening. And also, well, now and we have the Japan Airlines accident, like last week, which is nuts. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna have to get like some sort of bus and just drive around to do all these shows and stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna want to get on a plane and accidentally sit next to like one of these door plugs and just get blown off the plane. Okay, here's a question. What's worse, getting sucked out of an airplane at 16,000 feet in the air, or being the kid sitting in front of the seat that the door was blown off and then having your shirt completely torn off? I don't know what's worse for me, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know which fear is worse than the other, but it's a close call. Okay. And luckily nobody was seriously hurt, and they did make an emergency landing just fine. But for the next, I don't know, what would you say, half hour, everyone's like, what the hell just happened? How come this door is just off? Are we going to die? And on top of that, you're shirtless. I don't know. I don't know if I need that. I can't stop thinking about this poor kid who was just like, yep, I guess can someone give me a shirt or something? Oh, and I guess the airline gave everybody on the plane a $1,500 voucher for their trouble. What? Okay. $1,500. Are you trying to make sure I never fly again? And look, that was honestly more generous than I would have expected from an airline, especially Alaskan Airlines, which is basically just Spirit, but a different color, right? Actually, I think this officially worse than Spirit, because you never, like, Spirit's not fun. I avoid Spirit, but I've never heard of this happening. Like, you never really hear of anything that bad happening on a Spirit flight, right? I mean, let's give them some credit. Like, I mean, the worst that's going to happen is the guy next to you is going to take his socks off. Like, that's usually what I find, is because it's so cheap to fly Spirit that the worst of the worst human beings fly. And if you have any just, basic human manners and decency, uh, it'll be a traumatizing experience for you because you're not on that level. But yeah, and I know this isn't like I guess the airline's fault necessarily. It's the plane itself, right? So it's Boeing's fault. But it happened to Alaskan first, so every other airline's like, oh, thank God. Yeah, we'll check our planes, but it didn't happen at Delta. Okay. Look, on the one hand, I mean, am I taking that voucher? I don't know. Because I might want to get in on this class action lawsuit that'll happen, right? And now you guys know my love of potentially being involved in a class action lawsuit, right? This is kind of a pipe dream of mine. All right. I mean, I got some student loans to pay off. I could use some money. Look, I'm not encouraging suing companies, okay? I think, there's got to be a good reason. I think it's abused, of course. But, I mean, if you're going to go after someone, go after an airline, okay? If it's a company like that, I don't care. Sue the hell out of them. All right. I'm trying to think of what kind of deal I'd like, though. I mean, are we talking cash or like, well, how about this? Anybody on that flight gets to fly for free for the rest of their life. Okay. Because think about it. It's a win-win. Okay. If you're one of those people on that plane, you get to fly for free for the rest of your life. Okay. Wherever you need to go, as long as Alaskan can get you there. Right. So you get to do that, fly for free. And also for the airline, I mean, how many of those people are ever going to want to fly again? That's brilliant. Anyway, well, at least nobody was hurt, I guess, right? Except the poor kid without a shirt. Ugh, feel so bad for him. Anyway, good luck to them. If you are enjoying this podcast, tell your friends about it. Share it, subscribe, review it, rate it, do what you got to do. And if you at all want to see me do comedy, join my email list, sign up, click the link in the show description. That'll take you to a cool place on the internet where you can join my email list. I don't know why I'm explaining it like that. Maybe it's because it's 2 a.m. and I'm sorry. All right. I'm working on it. Now, I got a lot of shows coming up. If you're in the Chicago area in the week this comes out, this weekend, I'll be at the DeMott Theater inside of Second City on Saturday night. I'd tell you to get tickets, but it's sold out. Sorry. Also, Sunday night, I'll be at the Laugh Factory in Chicago at 9 p.m. I will be there instead of watching the Lions, which tells you how much I love doing stand-up. The Lions haven't had a home playoff game in my entire... the year I was born was the last time this happened, and I gotta miss it for a show. It's like one of those things where I'm like, I'm gonna be the guy streaming it on my phone in the green room. I'm not gonna be talking to people. I'm gonna be watching this football. And like the thing is I try to keep a foot in, a foot out, because I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want sports to be the thing that disappoints me. I don't need sports to ruin my week. That's all. I'm very excited. It's a good time to be a Lions fan. So I'll be watching the game somehow, whether it's on my phone or at the bar, whatever. I'll be there. This is why I like staying home. You're in control of everything, right? You can watch what you want, do it. But no, I got to do stand-up. I got to do it. So I'll be out Sunday, 9 p.m., Laugh Factory. Unless you're listening to this after, then sorry you missed it. Also, I can't believe the Lions won the Super Bowl. Huh? And then my show on Friday, no one can go to because it's at an old folks home. The spectrum of audiences I'm going to have this weekend, okay? Am I going to promote the email list Friday for an audience full of old folks? Probably. Just to see if they still have it. Second, I don't know if it's a good, it seems kind of pointless, right? And not to be too morbid at the end of the show here, but, it seems kind of morbid. Like, hey, do you guys want to sign up for my email list? And I'll let you know when I'll be coming back to your old folks home, which, how long do you think you're going to need this email is what I'm trying to say. Not to get too dark. Anyway, all right. Thanks for listening. And like I said, if you enjoyed the show, tell everybody about it. And we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode of the podcast.